And again, you need those mistakes to learn, because I feel like if you go through this journey and not make a mistake, then when that mistake comes, then you won't know how to handle it. But those were things that I was like, I'm gonna take chances, I'm gonna take risk, and I'm gonna...
It still hits, I don't miss, I just go, like a go flow, and I'm almost known, and I told you so when I throw these flows, like throw Shimbo, and I ain't too close to the Joe Smoke goes, and I'm on my grind, that is all the time, I do not do breaks, that's right, I stay in dry, and look, I'm back with a little bit of that, a little more cash than I came in with, ready that cat is out that bad, but I still ask you, the boy got skills. I don't need her, I don't need him, I don't need help with me, I got this. I can sing songs, I can spit raps, and I can do both, even do this. Word.
This episode is brought to you by Sweat Tent, the pioneers of the portable wood-burning sauna. Did you know that using the sauna 3 to 4 times per week could reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 50% and make you 60% less likely to experience Alzheimer's disease? That's why I've been a big fan of the sauna for years, but having to go to a crowded gym to do it isn't ideal, and all the at-home options are bulky and expensive. That's why I only use the Sweat Tent for my sauna needs. It's the most storable and affordable wood-burning sauna on the market. It not only takes minutes to set up, but it can reach 200 degrees Fahrenheit in 30 minutes or less. So whether you're enjoying it yourself in your backyard, with friends, or in need of a reliable sauna on the go, Sweat Tent is your best choice for the most portable, storable, and enjoyable outdoor sauna experience. All On The Stacks listeners will receive $100 off when you use code OTS. Visit sweattent.com today to get $100 off your purchase with code OTS at checkout. Again, that's sweattent.com to get $100 off with code OTS. Sweat Tent, helping you fire up your home wellness routine. This episode is brought to you by Wilkes Consulting, a Ramsey preferred coaching firm. Are you drowning in debt? Is the weight of financial stress holding you back from living the life you were meant to live? Then it's time to break free and regain control of your financial future. Wilkes Consulting specializes in financial and debt consulting. Their team of 4 highly trained Ramsey Solutions advisors are ready to help you take charge of your money. Whether you're looking to get out of debt, pay off student loans, or simply need assistance on how to prepare to buy a home, Wilkes Consulting can help you fine-tune your budget and provide the resources and guidance you need to meet your goals. Don't let debt or the fear of finances control your life any longer. Head over to wilkopa.com and book a hassle-free, no-obligation call. Your first step towards financial freedom. Again, that's wilkopa.com, WILCOPA.com. Wilkes Consulting, making financial independence a reality. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On The Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. What's up, podcast? It's Bill Corcoran Jr. here in the Blue Door Studio, protected by Ritchie Security Solutions. Carlos Betances, welcome to the On The Stacks podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I tried to say it with that Spanish, but I was just telling you I took a couple years in college, but it's been a long time, and I'm trying to bring that back out. But
no, you did good.
Did I do all right?
I'm impressed.
All right. Yeah, man. First of all, I gotta say, there's a few things I really like about you, but number one is you were early. I like people that are early, because if you're not early, you're late in my book. Right. And you text me. I was like, hey, you text me like you were, hey, I'm on my way, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not there. He's gonna beat me there, and I feel bad. I always feel bad when a guest gets here before me.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, I probably won't be there for a little bit. And you're like, oh no, all good. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be on time, and blah blah blah. And I was just like, man, you don't get that a lot these days.
It's the respect aspect of it.
It is.
That's how I was raised. So you want to always show up when you're invited somewhere. Early. So
yeah. You were very respectful. Not that other guests aren't. You know what I mean? But,
Right.
but I pick up on those things.
Right.
You know, I pick up on those things with just people in general, whatever it is. You know, it doesn't have to be podcast related, right? But you showed up. You were early. You got here before I did. You beat me.
Yes,
I'm
I
like
did.
driving 100 miles an hour. I'm like, man, I don't want to leave him out there. You know.
As I was chilling in front of your stoop.
Yeah, but then I see it. I turn the corner. I'm like, you know what? There he is. He's chilling on the stoop. And I'm like, but he probably feels at home now, right? Like I'm like, there he is. I'm like, he's good. He's good. I'm not. In fact, I thought about letting you sit out there for a few more minutes because I was like, he probably feels at home.
I did.
Right?
I felt good. I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was like, let him be at least 10 minutes late.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So what's the chill on the stoop? I know there's obviously, you know, you're from Harlem.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about chilling on the stoop, the culture. Tell me a little bit about that.
The culture behind chilling on the stoop is that's something that we did in the summertime, whether it was wintertime, always hanging out in front of the building. So if you ever looking for anybody in Harlem, it's like, where is he? He's probably in front of his building.
On the stoop.
Right? On the stoop, hanging out with 10 other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you bring the chairs out right in front of the building. It was just authentic. It's like the essence of New York. You know, you have to be on the stoop. Well, regardless of what you're doing, you have to be on the stoop.
No matter what. If you weren't on the stoop, you probably weren't cool.
If you wasn't on the stoop, you was upstairs.
You were
You was in the house. Yeah.
Or nobody, right?
We had our playtime when we went to the park.
Uh-huh.
We played our basketball. Everybody gathered back after the basketball into the stoop. So the stoop is the essence of Harlem and New York City.
That's something everybody reconvenes there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's like the go-to. It's like, if you don't know where somebody's at, just check in at the stoop.
That's it.
Yeah?
He's either in front of the stoop or he's between the doors before you walk in the stoop. So
How much time do you think you've spent on the stoop?
Oh boy. Long time.
Yeah.
Long time. I would say in a day on a summertime, we're probably there 8-9 hours, man.
Yeah?
Just hanging out, you know, talking, family gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Harlem?
Growing up in Harlem was it was tough, but at the same time, you know, I wouldn't trade my childhood for nothing. It was the way we grew up was like more sports, a lot of football. So we would play other neighborhoods in football.
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about that before we started.
Yeah, had the best hands in Harlem.
Did you?
Hands down.
Yeah.
I would not drop a football. Yeah, nah. And yeah, basically we played a lot of sports. I think one of the biggest things was we would wake up early in the morning and we'll go to the other neighborhoods, which is the other blocks, and set up a game for 1 o'clock that afternoon. We'll get everybody together. Of course, where we meeting? In front of the stoop.
Yeah.
Once we got all the players in front of the stoop, we heading to the park and we playing 3-4 games a day. So those were good times.
What was this? What year was this? Like late 80s?
This was 88, 89, 90, 91. 92 was when it really got really serious because I was playing, at that time I was a kid playing with men. And that year I kept a notebook of how many catches I had.
Okay, yeah.
So I had 79 catches and I had 12 touchdowns. So I kept that in a red notebook. I'll never forget to this day. And I had 3 drops the whole year. And that's how I got known, was around the neighborhood, was for football. Oh, you got to get him, his hands was... And then I turned into a quarterback. Never went anywhere because it was always 2-hand touch, but rough 2-hand touch.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I got pretty much my name, was
Harlem
football.
2-hand touch.
Harlem 2-hand touch. Meaning you go up
Little
that middle.
right?
Yeah, you going up that middle, EMS is coming.
Yeah, yeah, you might be in trouble.
Right.
Yeah. So football was your thing. You were a competitor, huh?
Yes,
You got a
big time.
competitive spirit?
Big time. Good basketball player as well. But baseball was my love. So
Okay.
that's what my dad, forced us to play pretty much. Baseball was number one.
Why'd you like baseball the most?
It's in the blood, man. Being Dominican, before you get a bottle in the mouth, you gotta get the glove first.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But baseball was my first.
You were born with a glove.
Yes. So baseball was always my first love. Yeah.
So tell me about the Dominican culture a bit.
Dominican cultures, man, rice and beans, with a little bit of avocado on the side. So Dominican culture is all about dancing, having fun, drinking your little beers, the Presidente. Have you been to Dominican Republic before?
I haven't.
No. Punta Cana? No. No. Oh, you're missing a good time.
I know.
Beautiful. They treat you like a king there.
Yeah, I've heard. I've heard.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a good
missing
time.
out.
Yeah, you are. You
Yeah.
need to go.
I know.
We was just there in May.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah? How often do you go back?
We try to go every year in May. That's the best time to go because mosquitoes are not out. So.
Okay. All right. These are good tips. All right. Give me the
so
rundown.
You go in July, you'll probably come back all bitten up, but May is the best time to go because the weather's hot, but it's nice and cool.
What's hot to you? Everybody's got a different version of hot.
98.
Is that comfortable for you?
You got to remember that it is for me. But
Okay.
Dominican Republic is the closest to the equator.
So like, what's the hottest it gets? Like when like hot, like,
Hot. 101, 102.
just like consistently every day.
12 o'clock sun will kill you. Yeah.
No good.
That's
You
a
see me, bro? I'm gonna get burnt to shit out there.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
You come back, you be looking like my hoodie.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I could use a tan. I feel like everybody's probably looking at me like, man, this guy looks like a ghost right now. You know?
I mean, me too. I get kind of white in the winter, so.
Yeah.
But then the summertime comes, I look Indian, so.
Yeah. So the Dominican culture. Do you cook?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I love cooking.
What do you cook?
I make some really good white rice, very fluffy. The trick to making white rice fluffy is you want to add a little bit of vinegar while the water is boiling. It works like Clorox on the rice. So it spreads the rice out when it goes on your plate. There's certain things that you have to have when you're Dominican. Your rice has to be spreaded on the plate. Can't be mushed. It can't. No, you can't do that.
So you're not a real Dominican if you don't have the right
No. And if you
white
don't have,
rice spread.
correct.
Is that that's a thing?
That's the thing. And then you throw the beans on top. Yeah.
Okay. What else? To be
Got the plan.
true Dominican.
You got to eat the plantains.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever eaten one.
Fried plantains?
No, I don't think so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Might have to take you to eat some fried plantains.
You
There's
might-
a lot of Dominican spots here.
Yeah. Where at? What's what are some of your favorite spots? I probably haven't even been to any of them, and shame on me.
There's one on
Because I love food.
There's one on Hazel Street. That's
Okay.
really good. Yeah, I like that one. But usually I cook my own, so I have the guys come over on Sundays and I cook. We watch football, so
That's the day.
yeah, that's the day.
What's NFL? Who's your
NFL,
team?
The Broncos.
The Broncos.
Yeah.
How'd you become?
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
That's all right. It's all right. Listen, I'm a Cowboys fan, and everybody's like, "How have you?" Yeah, right. Yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you the story. So,
Yeah.
in 1984, I was sitting in my dad's bedroom watching Elway against Cleveland, the drive. Because I was a Bears fan, actually.
You were what?
I was a Bears fan.
A Bears fan first. Okay.
Yeah. And if my family's watching this, they're going to bust me because they know I hate being a Bears fan now.
Yeah.
But I'm a Broncos fan since 1984 because of that Elway drive. I just loved Elway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That competitive spirit.
I'm a diehard Bronco fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I've over the last few years, I'll say, I guess just because I've got a lot going on, family now, new young family, et cetera, a lot of things, business, this, right? But I haven't caught up with NFL as much as I used to be. Like I used to watch a lot more, I'll say.
And
NFL.
who you like? What's your
I'm a Dallas Cowboys. Oh, I know.
You one of them.
I see. Yeah. I get
one
it
of
too.
them.
I get it too. Yeah.
You win the Super Bowl every year, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. We always remind everybody how many Super Bowls we have, and then, and everybody's like, "Oh, when's the last time you won one?" It's like, "All right, yeah, chill out,"
Then the playoffs come, and then it's
I know.
you're disappointed. It's
yeah.
okay.
I know. Everybody's probably gonna laugh their ass off when they hear this, and everyone's gonna be busting me. But like I said, I haven't really. I haven't paid attention to the NFL as much as I used to. I've become more of a college football fan.
What about baseball? Baseball fan?
No, not really.
No?
I know baseball's your thing, and man, I mean, if I had to pick, I'd say I don't want to say I'm a Phillies fan.
Okay.
They're
pretty good.
I don't
I'm a
know.
Yankees
I don't
fan.
want to. I feel like that was obvious. I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm a Yankees fan. I feel like that would be very Phillies fan could sound very cliche though.
You know what's funny about that? Usually people in New York, when they are Jet fans, they like the Mets.
Okay. Yeah,
If you're a Giant fan, you're a Yankee fan.
Yeah, that's a big debate, right? That's a
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It usually goes down that route.
Okay. So you guys hate Mets fans?
My
Right?
brother was a Mets fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably the only Mets fan you liked.
Probably.
right?
Probably.
Yeah.
If not, he'll beat me up. So
Yeah.
I got to be careful. I got to root for him.
Yeah.
In a way. So
growing up, did you play sports like all throughout like school
I played
as a kid?
not in school. I played Little League. I tried out basketball in high school, but it wasn't my thing. But baseball, growing up in baseball, I played Little League. Junior pony is what they called it once you start hitting a certain age. But I was pretty good, man. I played second base and I was a pitcher. The year that I was supposed to make the All-Star game, because we used to play in Central Park. The year I was supposed to make the All-Star game, my dad and mom decided to get me a ticket to Dominican Republic, so couldn't make the game. Yeah. So I was disappointed.
Yeah. What was that trip like? Not being able to go to that game.
Not being able to go to, it was in Puerto Rico too, that All-Star game.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It still haunts me.
Jeez.
Yeah. When my dad was in good condition, I used to tell him, why? I played so hard that year. Why?
Yeah.
The ticket was already bought. So,
Couldn't do anything about it.
can't do nothing.
Yeah. So what was like, I grew up in this area here. I know you've been here for like 26 years, something like that. You've been
Yeah, since 98.
Yeah. So, obviously I grew up, born and raised here. I've never really lived anywhere else, other than being away in college at Penn State. I've never really lived away,
Right.
So it's always very fascinating for me. And I always find it very interesting having somebody like you on the show who's either lived in multiple places throughout their life and or just, I'll say, like, even though you've been living here for so long,
right?
That you may call it home, you may not, but either way, like, I'll say your newer, most recent home, right? But I'll say like you're like a transplant, in a sense. But obviously you took roots here and everything when you moved here. So I'm always just curious, like, what that was like going from Harlem to Wilkes-Barre, right?
That's at that time I was 21 too, so it was weird for me. It was like, wow, this is nice. This is
change of scene.
Change of scene.
Big time,
I'm
right?
like, yeah, and not for nothing, but I grew up, mostly where there's a whole bunch of people outside. You always run into somebody. Who's who in the hood, right? All right, that's the bad guy. That's the good guy. That's the guy that works. When I came here, it was like I don't know nobody. So it was like, oh, even though I was from Harlem, I'm still like, oh, damn, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to notice everybody knew each other by their last name. And I'm like, okay.
It wasn't like that back home?
No
last names.
No government names.
Yeah,
everything was
right? probably not even a first name, right?
Not even a first name.
It was just a nickname.
It was a nickname,
right?
So if you was from the streets and your name was Concrete, that's what we gonna call you by. Concrete.
Yeah,
that's it.
No names.
No names.
Not even the
names.
first.
Not even the first.
Yeah, otherwise you're probably in trouble, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So when I came here, it was like, hey, this person, and then first and last name comes out. I'm like, oh, okay. But it was a good transition for me because it was like it was more calmer. I liked it a lot. I liked the opportunities that it gave me because I was outside the hood, and coming in those years in '98, I was still 20, 21, so I was still knucklehead stage. So
you were a knucklehead?
I was a knucklehead.
All right.
Yeah, I was a knucklehead. I was known more for snapping. So if you came outside with something funny, I'm cracking on you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we grew up. We grew up snapping.
Yeah.
And we cracking jokes, and at that time, now these days it's called bullying, but back then.
Right, yeah.
Back then.
Now you get canceled for a joke.
Yeah, now you get canceled. That's exactly.
Yeah, I feel like I was the same type of guy as you. I was always busting balls.
Yeah, it was just snapping all day. That's what we did in front of the stoop too. So we snapped and snapped all day. You come outside with something funny, we cracking on you. But I was raised with both of my parents in the hood, and a lot of my friends didn't have that. So I was able to have the best sneakers. I was able to have always the fresh clothes. I used to take a lot of clothes from my brother, because my brother he couldn't, even if he was just going to play football, he had to be fresh.
Yeah.
So, I take a lot of that from him. So,
you're looking fresh today.
Yeah. I got that Jazrae. You got to be fresh.
Yeah. By the way, got one. Thanks for hooking me up here.
That's right.
I love it.
That logo's fire.
And ultra comfortable, by the way.
Is it? Good.
Oh my God. Probably one of the comfort. I have the joggers too.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the most comfortable sets I've had in a while.
And it's funny because that was the biggest test for me. You know, starting off, I was like, oh, let me just buy this and buy that. And I was like, no, you got to take your time.
Yeah.
Make sure you find the right stuff.
Get it right.
Right.
Yeah. I appreciate the attention to detail.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it.
So that's why I reached out to you. I said, I got to hook you up with an outfit because it's too fire.
Mm-hmm.
I said, which one you want? I knew you was going to pick that one too.
Yeah. How'd you know?
Because I'm like, he's not going to pick Chillin' on the Stoop. I know he's not, but you know, you got the right one. You got the right one.
Yeah. So I shared it on social media a little while back, but I'll let you talk about the meaning behind it. But you said to me, like, I didn't know, like when you said, hey, pick, and I picked the Trust No One pad, the same one that you have on the front of your hoodie right now.
Right.
I picked that one, and I don't know what it is, but I was just like, that's fire. And I'm like, I want that, right? So, you know, again, I didn't even know, you know, what it meant to you, right, at the time when I picked it. And then right after I picked it, you told me. So go ahead, I'll let you say what it means.
Yeah, so basically a lot of people think don't trust anybody. That's not the case. The case is that you got to trust in yourself. You know, you have to believe in yourself. You have to make sure that the choices that you make, are you comfortable with them? So when I thought of trust no one is don't let people tell you how to move, what to do, how to take risk. If you feel like you need to do something, do it. Trust yourself. So when I say trust no one, it's trusting you. Not, I don't trust this person because, you know, he said don't trust him. That's not the case. Trust me, I got a lot of that. But it's just believing in yourself, man, and going for what you think is right for you. That's it.
Yeah. Where did you learn that? Like I'm sure it probably goes back to maybe your parents, your childhood, you know, growing up in Harlem. But I'm curious, like where these, you know, where this all stems from for you. I'm always fascinated.
For me, it came later in my life, man. To be honest with you, when you surround yourself around people that you just get to know, and then you call them friends, and then you find out they really don't want the best for you. That's when it really clicked on me. Like, you know what? It's about me and the people that know me from day one. And I can always tell somebody that's sincere right up front. I know somebody who's real to somebody who, you know, I'm going to take you in, and if, you know, I let my guard down and you disappoint me, it's over. And that's, for me, what came about a lot of this, because I had a lot of disappointment in my life. I let a lot of people into my life that didn't deserve to be in my life. You know, not saying that they bad people, but they just not good for me.
Right. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You know, but I'm sure I would imagine probably, you know, growing up, I'll say like inner city life, there's probably a lot of lessons and things and people you met that probably also still relate to this, even though, like you said, you didn't really learn it until later in life. Right.
Right.
But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that probably dates back to, I'll say street smart and just being able to read people. And like, I'm always curious and just fascinated about like,
oh, absolutely, man. Growing up in the streets, you got to know who to trust for sure. That's day one. That's you come outside. But the difference is that when you grow up in a neighborhood like Harlem, it's a closed block. So for instance, we grew up in a block where you had Amsterdam, Broadway, Riverside. We were the only ones that never had a Riverside. So we just had Amsterdam and Broadway. So we were closed in. So you always knew who to trust, who to not hang out with, you know, who to hang out with.
And where'd you learn that?
Just in the streets, man.
Just literally just from like being out there and experiencing.
Right. And you know, in the hood, there's no gossip. So you're not gossiping. You're not saying, hey, this guy's bad news. No, you got to learn that for yourself. You got to know, you got to see to understand this guy's no good or this guy's good. So that was just a skill that you picked up as a kid, man. I mean, 10 years old, I was riding the train by myself. I used to go to Roosevelt Island. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go there by myself, man.
10 years old.
10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. That was like a hood thing. Like, let's just catch the train. Downtown, midnight. You know, your parents don't really, they don't care.
It's so crazy. Like, I mean, you know, like the difference, you know, with some of that stuff.
Because I won't let my kids do that now.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah, right. Yeah. But also because you did it as a kid, so you know, like,
exactly.
I'm not going to let my kids do that. Right. Yeah. But like I said, I love, you know, going back to what I said a few minutes ago, like just hearing from somebody like you who, you know, you grew up there, right? And it's like, it's literally, I would say it is really almost a whole other world, right?
It
like,
is.
You know, growing up there and then, you know, moving here, obviously you didn't grow up here, but like you raise a family here, right? You know, it's there's a lot of, you know, similarities, but also a lot of differences, like major
time
differences.
Like, for instance, like they will bring down a building, like they'll bring a building down, and we used to use that as a play park. We used to play softball with rocks and
yeah,
you know, like they just knock that building down, they'll clean the building, and we'll play softball in that building. So we always made something out of nothing. Like, we'll play in the backyard, which the backyard in the hood is a little different than your normal backyard.
Yeah.
So we used to play basketball. We'll have tournaments back there. So it was, we made the best of it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously they grew up, obviously, you know, inner city. I don't want to say that there's a lot more opportunities to, say, get in the wrong crowd, but I'll say it's a little bit more prevalent, maybe, you know, because it's like right there, right? Because there is a lot, you know, obviously population's a lot more, you know, city living is obviously different, right?
It is. And back then, you got to understand, in the 80s into the early 90s, your big time drug dealers were like your counselors. You know, they would tell you, listen, this is not for you. You don't need to be here. Move. And they picked who they wanted to, you know. They'll send us to the store to go get B as a kid, you know, and tip us like $5-10. So they always, these days, I like to tell my son, like, you don't have those opportunities because you don't have like that mentor. Even though they doing bad, they're not there to tell you, don't do that. This is not for you. See, I had that growing up. I had those people telling me, listen, this is not for you. You're such a good baseball player, good football player. Stick to that. And that's what I did. But you still pick up on the streets.
Yeah. So like that happened to you personally? Like they said, like, no, like
absolutely.
Street life isn't for you?
Street life is not for you. And not that I ever attempted to, because that's not, you know, it was never in my character to do that.
Sure.
But it's something that,
but as a kid, you can probably, any kid could be easily persuaded.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's all you know. That's all you know is we got to get some type of money so we could go get some weed, we can get some beers, you know.
Plus, you see how these guys are living.
Yeah, you see the fancy cars.
Flashy.
Those are your role models growing up in the hood. Those are the people that you look up to and you say, hey, these guys have a nice living. What are they doing? Mm-hmm. But then you have I like to call them conservative drug dealers. Nah, this is not for you. This, you know, stay away from that. So
did you have any mentors growing up?
Yeah, my brother. Nobody messed with my brother. Never sold drugs, but when it came to fighting and stuff like that, he would. Yeah. Well, he was that guy.
He was respected, huh?
He was respected.
Why?
He was lifting since he was young, and you know, my dad was a boxer, so he used to always teach my brother, "Hey, listen,
how to fight."
I'll tell you a story. One time he had a fight with a cop.
Your brother?
Short little cop. Yeah, I'll never forget this guy, because he used to always come around the neighborhood and always tell my brother, "I'm gonna fight you." This is a cop back in the 80s. Yeah.
Okay, so this is before the fight.
This is before the fight. I'm gonna fight you. And my
Okay.
brother's like, "Yeah, whatever. Put the gun down. We can fight." And he's like, "You know what? Today's the day. I'll never forget. It was a Friday night. It was about 7:30, 8 o'clock, winter. Cop comes up. He's like, "We're gonna fight today." Okay. He was one of like those bad cops. So not every cop is bad, please. But he wanted to fight my brother. My brother fought him. By the time the fight was over, the cop was on the trunk, like on the top, sunk in. My brother just destroyed him. And since that, and the cop got up and he said, "You know what? I respect you, man."
Wow.
But that was growing up in the hood in the 80s.
Yeah, a little different nowadays.
Don't put your hands on cops. Bro.
Yeah. Don't do that.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But that was just a story that, he was just so happened to be one of those.
Yeah, times are different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Yeah, he actually fought a big-time drug dealer in the neighborhood, and the big-time drug dealer put something in his eye. He had like a lump. He went upstairs, and my dad told him to take the razor, cut the lump, let the blood flow, and go back downstairs, and you're going to beat him up. And my brother went back downstairs and beat him up.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and then they were cool after that?
They were cool. That's how it was in the 80s, though. You fight, it's over.
And that's it.
It's over. Unless you had like really, really bad problems with somebody. But other than that, it was always fist fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you earned your respect.
Interesting.
That's Harlem.
Yeah.
West side of Harlem.
West side of Harlem. All right, now give me a map. Like, where are we at? West side of Harlem.
So we by Apollo Theater. a little further up from Apollo Theater, but it's they call it like Hamilton Heights.
Okay.
So it's in Harlem, but it's like a subdivision to Harlem, and that's where we grew up at.
Okay.
Which is super dope.
Yeah.
Super dope. Oh man, I brought my wife there, and she was like, "Can we go upstairs, please?"
she had no didn't want any part of chill on the stoop.
Nah, she was from DuPont, so she was like, "Yeah, I don't want no parts of this." But
I'd go chill on the stoop.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's who you go with. I mean, I know everybody, so
Yeah. I think it's also like maybe a bit of a confidence thing too.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it's like if for me, for example, like if I were to go there and it's like, if you're acting like you're scared or whatever, it's
Right.
like, well, people, like you said earlier, people can read that. Like
they can
and
read.
it's like,
They can
hey,
read the fear. Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you're confident, and you know what I mean? Like it's kind of how, it's really how you go about the situation, the conversation. That's like with anything, I feel like, in life.
Or it's either that or they're gonna get you drunk. Is one of the two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's at the end of the day, it is a great time though.
Yeah.
Even though you always have your bad parts everywhere you go, but
Yeah, of course.
to be honest with you, where I grew up, if I was to take you there, they'll embrace you, and you'll be like, wow, I'm gonna have to come here more.
Probably only because I'm with you, though, right? Like if I were to be wandering down the street myself, I mean,
Yeah,
look at me. Come on, right?
No, first they'll think you're a cop.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Probably.
So that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You brought this cop around.
Yeah. You
that's
don't
just
want to
the
be known as the
paranoia.
guy who brings the cop around.
No,
right?
no, not at all.
I'm not a
Not at
cop,
all.
I swear, guys.
No,
Yeah.
So that's just growing up, but it is a really, really nice neighborhood.
Yeah. So what's it been like living in northeastern PA for all
Cool,
these years?
man. Cool,
Yeah?
man. I met a lot of great people. I've been around great people. So I can't complain. I can't complain. I think here has given me an opportunity to grow too. So to bring a little bit of my New York into here has been amazing. And a lot of people know me too. So
Yeah. I want to talk about that for a minute, because like you mentioned the word opportunity. I feel like this is probably, you've said this a few times already, opportunity, right? And talking about your brand, right? And,
Right.
I want to kind of tie all that in together and have you tell a little bit about it, the story, kind of how it started, where it's at now. There's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it. So when I mean opportunity is just for my kids. It's a better way of growing up. But the opportunity as far as the clothing brand, where it came about, it was my 8-year-old. She just looked at me and said, I want my own clothes. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna make that happen. And the beginning was a struggle. And I think I said this in another podcast, but the first time that I tried to make a shirt, I burned the shirt. And my little daughter still busses me to this day.
Yeah.
But it was just self-taught. Plus, I had a background where my brother had his clothing line with his friends back then called Nasty. So I had a little bit of a background to know where I wanted to go as far as direction. It was just a name that, I was like, what do I name it? Then I thought of Jazrae Wear, which is my daughter. And my brother called me saying, no, that sounds like a purse. You're not selling purses. And I said, you're right. You know what?
Yeah.
It does. It does sound like a purse. And I said, let's cut it in half to Jazrae. He said, there you go. Now you need a logo. Think of something authentic to you. And that's when I came up with Chillin' on the Stoop. And he's like, that's it. Yeah. Who doesn't chill on the stoop? That's a New York thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest was history, man.
Yeah. So what was it like just starting out with it?
It was rough because I did not know where to go. Like I was buying T-shirts that were no good. I was sending them out, selling them for like $20, and the reviews would come back. Nah, I watched
good price, but quality.
Yeah,
right?
the quality is just not. And again, you need those mistakes to learn, because I feel like if you go through this journey and not make a mistake, then when that mistake comes, then you won't know how to handle it. But those were things that I was like, I'm gonna take chances, I'm gonna take risk, and I'm gonna let me level up the T-shirts. So then I went into a better T-shirt company, US branded, and I said, this is it. Now was the logo. How do you want to design the logo? And at that point, I said, you know what? I think I have an idea of how I want it like graffiti type, but clean. And that's when I did the chillin' on the stoop first. And then I said, I want it a little bit cleaner. And that's when I went with the C.O.TS. And then chillin' on the stoop in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, by the way, you were the first one. I have the chalk wall out here.
Yes, thank you.
Chalkboard wall.
I appreciate
and,
that.
You're the first one to sign it, and you have like a really cool. Because I was like, yo, can you draw? Or like, you're like, nah. But then all of a sudden I turn my back, and then you're over there with this. What I said is like, man, that's like really nice, like handwriting, whatever you want to call it, like. But it reminded me of like almost like a graffiti style, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, this guy said he can't draw. I mean, whatever you want to call that. Like, I was like, wow, that's nice though.
Yeah. I was a little nervous too because I'm like, it's the first one, so I don't want to mess it up.
You're getting photographed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like I can't have a shaky hand on the wall, you know. But yeah, so like you're like obviously developing and building a brand, as you know, as we all know. Mm-hmm. I mean, just as I do, like it's building something from scratch. It's very difficult.
Very.
You know, and like you said, like you have to sort of, I don't want to say you have to make mistakes, but almost.
No, and I agree with this. I have this argument with my business partner all the time. It's like, you trying to skip by mistakes. He says he's not, but I think he is. And I said, no, we got to make mistakes. We got to learn from these. We got to get feedback. We got to know what's good, what's not. Mm-hmm. Because remember, when you first start something like this, you're always going to have people that are going to doubt you, right? And they're waiting for you to just fall. So for me, it's like, no, I'm going to fall, but I'm going to make these mistakes, right? Because I think I texted you a while ago and I said, fail, right, is the first attempt in learning, right? So that means that as soon as you bring something to life, it's already successful. You can't lose. You brought it to life. You know, how many people talk about things and they don't do it? So for me was, okay, let me see what angle I want to go. Let me study the audience so I know where I want to go. So I started laying out all these designs and I was putting them on the website and I was seeing they wasn't selling. I'm like, okay, I got to come up with something. And I'm going to be honest with you. The chillin' on the stoop was my number one. But right now, the JR Trust No One, that's where it's at.
Yeah,
that's where it's at, man.
See, I picked like you're like, hey, check out some of these.
It's just so clean.
And not that I don't remember what the other ones were.
You probably don't, because I don't.
yeah, right. But like, I don't know what it was. It's just there was just something about it. I don't know. I guess partially also because, before we started too, I think it was before we started, we were talking about music a little bit. Right. And you were saying like, I'm a big like lyrical guy. I think is maybe how you said it, right?
I'm a lyrical guy when it comes to rap.
Yeah. So like we were hanging out, chilling, listening to some music before we came in, and we were talking about hip hop. Obviously, I'm a big hip hop guy, and so I think for me when I picked that, I don't know what it was. I think because just it intrigued me, right? Trust no one, and obviously. At first you might think, oh, it means like, oh, don't trust anybody.
Like this guy doesn't trust anyone.
Yeah, don't trust anyone. But really, like, I mean, I figured it probably had some other
it has a positive meaning behind it, and that's where I was trying to relate to people. Mm-hmm. Is that it's not for you to go around and say, oh, I'm not trusting nobody. No, it's about just believing in you, because people don't believe in you, regardless. Even family members won't believe in you, until they start seeing that something is happening with this. You know how many times I got, go sell your chillin' on the stoop. Oh, this ain't going nowhere. But that's what motivates me.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me going.
I love it.
Yeah.
Me too, man.
Man, you have no idea how much those same people market for me so big time.
Yeah.
Because they can't keep their mouth.
They fuel it.
They can't keep my name out their mouth. Yeah. So it's great.
I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
All day.
100%.
Yeah, but like I said, when I was like, trust no one, like that's the one. Plus I like the colors, like, I'm obviously a lot of my brand is black, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I'm always down for a black hoodie. Yeah. And I'm like,
it's just clean.
And and like I said, for the words, like again, just going back to the lyrical thing, like I'm a big lyrical guy too. Like I love to just pick apart lyrics from music and obviously everybody deciphers things, different ways.
Absolutely.
But to me, I don't know, I'm the type of person when I listen to songs, I also like either watch the lyrics. Now you can you can look at the lyrics like on on the phone, like on Apple Music and things. But also for as far back as I can remember, even as a kid, growing up as a teenager, listening to hip hop, I was Googling the lyrics to song, but maybe partly at first, because sometimes when you hear a new song, whatever, it's like, oh, what the hell is he saying? Sometimes you can't catch a word or two, and just like you said to me, like me too, I like to be able to understand and really know what they're saying,
like what they're saying, right?
Lyrically, I really like to listen to it, and there's often a story.
You got to listen to Rakim.
Yeah,
listen to Rakim.
Okay,
listen to his album. Paid Him. Is it Paid Him Full? Yeah.
I don't think I've ever listened to Rakim.
Yeah, that's a good album.
Yeah,
good album. Yeah.
What was it? Paid Him
Full, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Rakim was like the first.
I know the name for sure.
Back then, and Big Daddy Kane too. That was one of my favorites. Big Daddy Kane, EPMD. Like, I'm from that era. Like, that's rap for me.
Yeah.
And then Redman for me is
Redman.
Yeah. His first album. Have you heard his first album?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Redman and Method Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the album. That's the album that I was listening to when I made it to PA. It was me and my buddy Jose. We was in the room listening to that, and it just so happened that I got a call and I came here.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
So who are some of your other go-tos?
Go-to? Oh man,
I know there's a lot, but
I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I'm a big Jay-Z.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
How could somebody not be a Jay-Z fan?
I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I don't know if you ever heard of a group called Das Effects.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm a big. They were down with EPMD, which they were the hit squad back then.
Okay.
Big fan of them. MOP.
Mm-hmm.
Mobb Deep.
Yep. Mobb Deep.
Yeah. So a lot of 90s, man. I like the new stuff. It's okay. I mean, not to knock it. I think they do a lot of good stuff, but
yeah, it's different.
Drake is the farthest I'll probably go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like Drake?
I do.
Okay. All right. Because I like Drake too.
Yeah, I like.
I was hoping you didn't say no.
No.
I was like, show's over.
No. He's cool.
Yeah.
No, I like Drake.
Yeah. No, but like you said, same thing. A lot of the. I do like a lot of newer stuff too, but also I don't know. It depends. I don't know. It's hit or miss for me. I feel like with a lot of the new stuff,
because it all sounds the same sometimes.
Yeah,
but it's good music. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but when you come from an era where lyrics is like king, that's for me. Lyrics is king. Like Jada Kiss, amazing.
Yeah.
So
why? I probably listened to that song 10,000 times.
And then you have Dipset.
Yeah,
which is really good.
Yeah,
which they from Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to a school that played against the school that I went to.
You grew up kind of around these guys.
Yeah, real good basketball players those guys were.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about that.
Nobody knew who they were back then.
Yeah, back then. Yeah. But you did.
Yeah. Now I do.
Yeah.
But back then they were really good basketball players.
Yeah. What do you think the hip hop culture has done for, growing up in Harlem? How do you think how does that mesh? What does that feel like to you?
Harlem is more flamboyant, so it was you got to be fresh. If you matching your hat, you got to match your sneakers with the hat. So it back then it was house parties, so if you went to those house parties, you had to match. You had to look fresh.
Yeah.
There was no room for error. But hip hop played a big influence in the hood. We had times where we had a rapper called Big L, who was supposed to be legendary. Unfortunately, he got murdered, but he was really flamboyant. He was he matched his hat with his shirt, with his sneakers. So a lot of that you pick up on, It's just a swag.
Yeah.
Not to sound arrogant, but
it
was always a swag.
It's not arrogance. No. Yeah.
It was always a swag when you grew up in Harlem. So you had to be fresh.
Yeah, it's funny. I've said this on episode, but it's been I forget when I said it's been a long time since I said this, but in other conversations where we talked about clothes and matching and all that, I used to. So you don't even know me as suit guy, right? I used to be suit guy. I'm now backwards hat, sneakers,
okay.
Nike. That's how you know me, right? Because we've recently connected. I'll say, right? But a few years back, and maybe a few years before that, I used to wear a suit and tie all the time, right?
Right.
My job. And but when I was growing up as a kid, I was a sneaker, matching type guy, and I got made fun of a lot in high school growing up.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, like I was the kid, right? Growing up, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, matching, the blue Nike swoosh on my shoes to something I was wearing. Right? I was that guy that I had all that stuff matching, and I was like, I feel like, at that time for me, there weren't like a lot of people like that, at least in this area, right?
Right. You stepped out the box.
To me, I was like, it's like, what is it? Like everybody made fun of me. Literally,
Right.
I got made fun of for all the matching that I used to do. And I used to get like, same pair of sneakers, but one in each color. Right. To match the outfits. Right.
That's because you had swag.
Right. Thank you.
You know what I mean? It was swag.
It was definitely swag. Yeah.
And then the haters came.
And like I said, like, small town area right here. I don't have to tell you, but I got, I'll say, bullied out of my swag.
Okay.
Right? I got bullied out of my swag.
That's not right, but okay.
Right? So over a few years, I maybe started dressing like a little bit different, right? Just because I was like, oh man, everybody's like hating on this. I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong,
right?
Well, little do we know, I was doing it right the whole time. Yeah, so like I said, I got away from it for a long time. Like I actually got away from, and then I dressed a lot differently over, of course, this I'll say transition from sneakers to more than dressier clothes, I'll call it, over like it was a span of like over like several years, and then throughout college and then after college. But now I'm back to kind of like where I was as a teenager in terms of swag.
Where you at? That's right. The swag never goes away.
I'm back to OG swag Bill.
And that's funny because I was the opposite. I never wore a suit.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Never wore a suit.
Yeah, don't do it.
No. I tried, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I like my jeans. I like just like I can't wear skinny jeans.
No,
I'm not from that era.
Okay.
Yeah. I try, but that's not for me. Yeah. I need a little baggy.
Okay. I can't do baggy.
No?
I mean, I used to, but like, I'll say like over the last several years, it's just gotten tighter and tighter and tighter. Right. And I got to give a shout out to Jimmy T. Martin. He's going to love this, executive producer of the show. His famous saying, if it ain't tight, it ain't right.
Okay.
So, see what I'm saying?
Listen, I ain't knocking this. Okay.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
But for me,
the tighter the better.
All right. I can't do it. I try, but because everything you buy now is pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it came full circle for me. I'm back to matching and OG old school swag Bill.
The swag never goes away.
It doesn't. Sometimes you just have to bring it back out.
That's it.
That's
it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. And I think too, it also goes back to, like you said, like, for me, I think it was, again, because I'm small town and, some people maybe, make fun of you, knock you, whatever. And it's just like, you get so discouraged. Right. And that can go for anything in life.
Absolutely.
You could, it doesn't, you don't even have to be a teenager. You could be, I'll say, a young adult, maybe just starting your career, or maybe well into a career, but maybe you're trying to do something else different. And, if, people start shitting on you for it or whatever, that you might get very discouraged very fast.
You know what's funny? Anything different, people shit on you.
Yeah.
Anything different.
Yeah.
So trust me, when I started this, everybody, where did this come from?
Yeah, like why? It's always like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, and where was this anyway? Yeah. It was always there. I was distracted. Mm-hmm. I was more focused on the things that I shouldn't have been focused on.
Yeah.
Once I settled down and I cut a couple people off, it came to me. It just came natural. Like, okay, I know what you need to do.
Yeah, and you kind of said it earlier. Like, I think at one point you said before too about, I'll say, cutting people off.
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself with the right people.
Absolutely. 100%.
And like, and once you do that, and once you start realizing, you know what, like, I don't need that person that them dragging me down to negativity.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't need them.
Get that out. And once you like cut that out of your life, it's life changing.
And you know what's funny? You get consumed in it without even realizing it.
Yeah.
You get consumed in it.
You're so wrapped up in it.
Yeah, you
don't
wrapped
even know.
up in it.
It's subconscious. I think it just becomes like an everyday subconscious thing.
It's true.
And until like you really sit down and think about, man, like, you look at all the people around you, right? Mm-hmm. And you think to yourself like, what kind of value are they bringing to my life? And
absolutely.
When you really sit back and think about that, like, it's not that often that most people probably actually take inventory of who they're surrounding themselves with. And I think that's so important.
That's true.
Take inventory of who you're surrounding yourself with. Take inventory of the content you consume. Because I said this before too. Whatever content you consume, you essentially, that's what you think. You start thinking
Right.
like that content. So like
You become that.
yeah. So if you listen to trash, you become trash.
Yeah.
You listen to good stuff, you're gonna grow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know what's
Like-
funny, and that's what got me in the position that I'm in now. Is because I'm not saying nobody's trash, please, no.
Yeah, they are.
No.
I'll say it. They're trash. No.
No, but it just taught me a lesson, because sometimes, when you play middleman, it's always the middleman that gets shitted on. Mm-hmm. Right? When you're trying to separate something, and you're trying to give advice and do that type of stuff, you end up shitting on, because then those same two people end up making up and being, now you look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I think for me, when I started realizing, okay, what am I around? I need to better myself a little more.
How'd you do that?
Self-discipline, man. It was just like completely just one day I just stopped. I stopped replying to texts, calls, because I was finding myself calling more than I was getting called.
Ah, it's so interesting. It's such, oh man, I could talk about this all day.
Dude, and I said, wait a minute. I'm doing all the looking. I'm telling you how I feel about you as far as me being your friend. And I'm like, shit, I'm not getting no response. Nobody's checking up on me. Mm-hmm. That's when I had to shut it down. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it now. Mm-hmm. And no fault to them, because they probably looking at it the same way. But for me personally, I was like, yeah, this is stopping my growth. So before it turns bad and ugly, let me just separate that. And it's just certain people. Certain people that I still will make up with. But there's certain people that it's just like, nah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Just like, nah, not down for that anymore.
Not down for that.
You outgrow.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that they're not down for it either.
Yeah, yeah.
Just makes it easier.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And especially too, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I've been saying this a lot lately, but it's also in times of in adversity that you realize like who matters and who really cares about you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's often, at least I found from my experience, that it's usually people that are like the least close to you. I feel like a lot of times in times of adversity, actually, you become closer with people that you least expected to,
Right.
and they're the people to end up times being the ones to support you more than even your closest family or
And
friends.
it's true, because when my brother passed away, it really hit me on who was looking for me. And let me tell you, a lot of Facebook friends that I don't even know were reaching out to me. Now, the other ones I do know that, but the people that was very close to me was not reaching out. And that's when it hit me like, okay, in a time of need, who's coming to look for me? And I hate to be selfish, because when my brother passed away, he was like the glue of the family. So, and what I mean by that is that now that his passing happened, it's like we're not tight as a group. Everybody just feels like, they're entitled to what he meant to that person. And again, listen, pain affects people differently. For me, I just felt that we all should be one. Even your friends, family reach out. And those were things that I sit back and I go, man, if my brother was here, he probably would have said, what the hell y'all doing? We're like, why is this happening? But, everybody grieves different. Mm-hmm. Everybody, pain is what I said the other day? Pain is like camouflage, right? People can't see it. You look happy in the outside, but in the inside, let me tell you, man, people don't even know the pain I'm going through when I lost my brother, because I don't speak about it, because I keep moving. But when I'm alone, it hits me, because it was a big, that was my big bro. So for me, it was like, man, I need that support. I need my big brothers. I need my cousins. I need my girl cousins. I need my uncles. I need everybody, my friends. If you with me, come. And when you're not seeing that, sometimes it's like, damn, what the hell just happened? And that's when it hit me like, you know what? Everybody's taking this passing how they want to take it. But at the end of the day, if we don't unite, we're not nothing. So.
Yeah.
But it does open my eyes to see who's with me and who's not. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, in times like that, like, again, I'll say it's adversity, right? Like, like you're still still in it, right? Like I'll say, you might still be in a time of adversity right now, like you're battling through that, right? The good, the bad, everything in between. And it's you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And like you said before, like you don't want to sound selfish, but you know what I say, like there's a lot of times where I would say that out loud too, like you know what, I feel like I'm being the selfish one, but you know what, I'm so far past that now. It's like that it doesn't matter. You know what matters? You.
And you know what's funny, and that's what I came to the conclusion of. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you feel I'm taking it a certain way or I see things a different way.
Yeah.
No, at the end of the day, man, listen, I told you, pain, right? When you're going through something, it's not, you need to talk to somebody, but it's who you talk to. Because some people, they don't listen. They hear you, but they're not listening. Mm-hmm. So there's a big difference, because I could talk to somebody who's like, yeah, I love that you down right now. Keep talking, right?
Yeah.
Opposed to somebody who's going to console you and tell you, hey, man, I feel sorry for your loss. I'm here for you.
Yeah, and ask you questions.
Like,
hey, how you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Opposed to that one person that's like, oh, yeah, he's going through this. Good. Mm-hmm. Because people do wish that.
Yeah, and they're not really there for you.
Right. If you can't pick up the phone and say, if I've been a friend to you for a long time and you can't pick up the phone and say, how you feel? Or how you doing? Then we're not friends.
Anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And I learned
I feel you, bro.
And I've learned that through my brother's death, right? The good part about my brother's death, and not to say that anything is good about it, but
the positive that came
out of it, it turned me into a man. It showed me how to be a man. And what I mean by that is it opened my eyes to see who's there for me. I'm reaching out, nobody's reaching out to me. I got to stop it. That's when I say, no, that's it. I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah. And in times like that, like I said, going back to the selfish thing, you got to become selfish. Like you actually, in my opinion, you should be. I think, and again, to a degree, right?
Right.
But like, I feel like everybody, again, should, like, I'll say, take inventory and just be a little bit more selfish. Like I used to be, maybe still, but now, but I'll say I've working on it, and I'm making, 2024 and beyond, more of a commitment. I'll say, be more selfish with my time, be with my family, do the things that I want to do. And again, like I used to be the guy that I would tell everybody yes, and I still do to a degree,
right?
Because I'm the type of person where I don't like to pass up opportunities. I like to say yes to everything and figure it out later. Mm-hmm. And everything's always a work in progress, right? Like I'm always just constantly moving, constantly growing, just like yes, we'll figure it out, right? But sometimes obviously you have to take a step back and be like, you know what, maybe I should stop telling everybody yes and only say yes to things that are going to either add value, further your career, your bank account, like not that money's everything, right? But all that, like you have to take inventory of everything you're doing, who you're doing it with, why you're doing it, and make a conscious effort, I'll say, to be like, these are the things that matter,
right?
Like I don't need to do all that other bullshit anymore, or I don't need to take that phone call to this so-and-so person because they're just asking for something. And it's like, I'm usually too nice of a guy to,
and it's like you said, you just used the key word, is value. Mm-hmm. Some people don't appreciate your value.
Yeah.
And when they don't appreciate your value, then there's no friendship.
Yeah.
There's no relationship in anything, because you got to value first yourself before you value anybody else. So if you're not valuing somebody already, you're not valuing yourself.
Yeah.
Because some people will stay in a predicament because they don't have no value.
Yeah. No. They have no self-worth.
No self-worth. They accustomed to staying where they at.
Mm-hmm. Complacency. It's the killer. It's the killer.
And then what happens with that when you don't have that? You start attacking those who have value.
Yes. Exactly.
Right.
That's when you become a hater.
You become a hater.
A hater. Yes. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And without even realizing it.
Yes.
Right. Because a lot of people are blind to that.
Naysayer.
Yeah.
They're the type of people that, like, I'll say, never went for it, right? And it's like, or they've never done it. So just because like, you haven't done it doesn't mean that I can't do it. Right.
That fear thing we talked about earlier is those people put their fears on you. So the biggest thing is, if I put this fear on you, you're not gonna do it, and then I'm gonna feel good because you're not doing it because I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it all comes back to valuing yourself, man. And what does that come? Trust no one but you.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
Right. It comes back to all of that. So all of that comes from that trust no one.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people are always going to find a way or an excuse to put you down. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what you're doing. Oh, I opened up a clothing line. Yeah, he probably got that because of money. And now he thinks it's not about the money. You see, because if I brought something to life, I already won. I could make $1. But you know what? I ain't make that $1 before I thought of the idea. But when I thought of the idea, I made that $1. You see what I'm saying? So it's already a win-win. Even if it fails, right? You already won because you brought it to life. All the work that I got into this point, I'm successful. Everything else that follows is money.
Plus, I feel like you have a greater purpose now.
Absolutely.
You know, through your brother.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like, you know, for me, like your brand to me, you know, I'll say from like a little bit of an outsider's perspective, it represents, you know, your values, your brother's values, your family, everything that you've done, you know, like your whole life, right? It's like you,
right.
It's like I feel like you're living out this purpose and this mission, you know, through your brother.
Right. And you know what's funny that you say that, because when my brother passed away, I was going to quit.
On the Stacks will be back in a flash after a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Elevation Wellness, NEPA's premier wellness center located on Mundy Street in Wilkes-Barre. From pro athletes to busy parents, Elevation Wellness is leading the conversation when it comes to bettering your health through integrative medicine. Founded by NEPA native Louis Helmecke, Elevation Wellness offers physician-formulated and guided treatments that are administered by registered nurses. To learn more about how you can experience the benefits of IV vitamin therapy, multivitamin booster shots, non-invasive aesthetics, or peptide, NAD, red light, and compression therapy, visit elevation-wellness.com or follow them on Instagram at Elevation Wellness NEPA. All On the Stacks listeners will receive 10% off their first purchase with code STACKS at checkout. Call 570-762-9400 or visit elevation-wellness.com to book your appointment today. Elevation Wellness, taking your health to new heights.
A lot of times when people are in car accidents, kind of forget what we should do. First and foremost, call 911. Then, get out of your car before moving it and take pictures. It's so important to capture what the cars look like immediately following the accident. Finally, call your insurance carrier and make a claim.
To learn more, visit Anzalone Law offices online at anzalonelaw.com. This episode is brought to you by Loop Internet. Are you tired of buffering, lagging, and slow internet speeds? Look no further. Introducing Loop Internet, Northeastern Pennsylvania's fastest and most reliable internet service provider. With Loop Internet, you can stream, game, and work from home seamlessly. Say goodbye to interruptions and hello to lightning-fast connections. Loop Internet offers both residential and business fiber. Fast-track the future with their 10-gigabyte fiber and join the Loop Internet family today. Visit Loop Internet online at loopinternet.com or call 1-888-808-5667. Again, that's 1-888-808-5667. Or visit them online at loopinternet.com. Loop Internet, where speed meets reliability. And now we're back on the Stacks.
The reason I didn't quit was because I had a design in my head with my brother on front of the building that we grew up in, and I sent it to this design guy, and he brought it back to me, and it was beautiful. And I said, I'm not quitting.
Was it the one on the bag?
Yeah. So if you notice, I use my brother for everything. When we started this company, I always used his number because I always wanted his acceptance. I used the number 15 because his birthday, which was September 15th. I used 44 because that was his football number growing up. And I always had something around him. Even when he was alive, he already was getting his flowers through the company. And I never said this. This is the first time I'm ever saying this because I don't like to showcase or I don't like to put private things out there. But every t-shirt that you buy from my brother, him chilling on the stoop, those proceeds go to my nieces, his daughters. And I've never mentioned that, ever. Because I feel like those things don't need to, I don't want you to buy it because I'm doing this. I want you to buy it because you like it. And then the rest behind the doors follow.
Just happens.
Right. So
Yeah.
we close to the goal of when, I'm going to give them their cut for those t-shirts. So
That's
they're
awesome.
always going to be a part of it. So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, man. It's like I told you, man, his branding and when I would send him a design, he'll send it right back. Nope, I don't like it. Before you put a shirt out, you have to send it to me because I'm fresh.
Yeah. That's right.
So
he had the swag.
He had the swag.
He had the swag.
Yeah, and anybody that knows my brother knows he had the swag.
He was the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's cool, man. I love it. I love it.
He was very hands-on, man. So losing him for me was like, man, do I want to do this? Like,
yeah, so you thought about quitting?
I thought about quitting because I was like, I needed somebody I could send this to and for them to give me their honest opinion, say, yo, it's whack, oh, it's dope. Or, my other family members were helping me big time, so I'm not knocking them. But for some reason, my brother always had that, no, Carlos, that's not it. You can't do that. Nah, I don't like it. Fix this, do that. He would spend his time at work sending me, put the shield, like there's a shield on the website that we did, and I put 44 in it. But that shield originally was supposed to have Jazrae in the middle. And then he was like, nah, put 44 because you need double numbers because it looks better. And that's another shirt that sells a lot too.
So I have a question here. So when did the design for Trust No One, when did that come out? When did you come up with that?
Like 6 months ago.
Okay.
I had it in a template. Okay. And I was like, nah, I don't really like it. I just had Trust No One.
And when did you think about bagging the whole thing?
When I thought about it, I was playing with my design thing on the computer, and I said, man, let me put the JR, because I had the JR small logo, and I said, damn, let me put that across just to see how it looks. And I was like, oh, it's plain. I had it black and white. And I'm like, nah, let me change the JR to red, and then put the background black. And I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I'm like, yeah, this is it. So then I called some guys that I deal with, and I said, listen, I need you to put this design in an embroidery patch. I need that. And they went and did it, and I was like, this is it. And then I started doing stitching. Now I'm going to come out with the hats for it. Because that logo itself got so much feedback on Facebook and Instagram that I was like, I got to do this. And once I did it, everybody was buying it, man.
So like, was that design like, so again, when you thought about quitting, mm-hmm. that was before this design?
That was before this design, yeah.
Was this design that one that kind of sort of reignited?
It sparked, well, my brother on the stoop mm-hmm. reignited my, okay, now we going.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started putting my head together, and I'm like, let me start designing a little more. I took some of the stuff that I had on the template, I started putting them all together, and I'm like, this is it. Mm-hmm. Trust no one, this is it.
Yeah. So was it, like, because you mentioned a few minutes ago, like, hey, once my brother passed, like he was the one that when I would come up with something, I would send to him and kind of sort of get his like stamp of approval in a sense, right? And then then it came to a point where you didn't have him, right? And it's like, obviously, besides the personal and emotional side of like, screw it, right? Bag it, right? But now you didn't have that, I'll say, partner. Right, you didn't have that partner, creatively, whatever. I'm sure there's a lot of parts that he brought to the table in terms of the brand and the company, right? But for me, like, and again, this is just me speculating here.
That's okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
But,
Go ahead.
So you come up with the Trust No One. I mean, the theory behind it, the meaning is maybe. Like you didn't have your brother to bounce those things off of, but you came up with this design, and it's like almost like you fully trusted yourself.
Exactly.
And the design that you came up with, and you said, you know what? Not that you don't need your brother, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, all due respect, right? Of course, but you kind of went all in on yourself. Is how I see it.
Absolutely, 100%.
And you believed in yourself.
Yes, not only that, but I also knew how my brother thought, and he always told me, go with your gut. And on top of that, I have a couple haters that influenced that Trust No One.
Good.
Yeah, because they, chilling on the stoop, that's not going nowhere. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that played a big part of it. But mostly when it came down to it, it was me saying, you know what? I'm going to trust in me that this logo is going to be, it's going to be good. It's going to hit.
And you're going to go all in on yourself.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
I started this from the kitchen, man. We made 100 sales in a year. Like that's big time. Whether it's family, friends, whoever's buying, we had a purchase from Colorado, Like, what is going on
Right.
from my kitchen to Colorado?
Yeah,
Like, this is so cool.
It's awesome,
I
right?
love it, man. I get a thrill when somebody buys, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when people connect with it, you know?
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I keep looking at it because I just keep, I like it, obviously, but it has a lot of meaning. And, you know, again, just like lyrics to a song, people can interpret it in various ways, right?
And it's funny because I posted something and I said, even though you don't understand the brand, you understand my heart. Because if you know you're authentic, you know that the brand is authentic.
Yeah.
You know, because I take customer service to anybody that tells you they ever bought from me will tell you how intense I take customer service.
It's important.
It's
all
very
about,
important.
it's all about a relationship.
Very important, man.
Yeah.
Something, just the girl from Colorado, she ordered a small. It was too late for me to exchange it. I sent her 2 mediums. Not 1, 2. Now she knows that might be her last cup, but at the end of the day, you know, first come, first serve. So I that's like my cousin. She ordered the hoodie. It was too small. She got another 2 medium. Now everybody don't think that you're gonna get 2 mediums.
Don't pretend like you ordered something the wrong side or, you know.
But it just goes to show you that I go beyond. You know, if it's something that you don't like, please, I need the feedback because that's the only way we're gonna grow. And I'm willing to take chances. Believe me.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, my business partner gets frustrated with me.
No, you got.
You're too impulsive, Carlos. He says.
Yeah, you just gotta.
I like the risk.
Yeah, you got to. You know, like I said, to a degree, and you gotta. I'll say calculated risk.
Right.
You know, because like if you don't do it, then you're never gonna know.
You'll never
one
know.
way or the other. You're
never know.
never gonna know.
You'll never know.
Never gonna know. And then 20 years from now, you're gonna be like, shit. I wish I would have did that.
I wish I would. Trust me, I'm thinking that now. I wish I would have started this 15 years ago. But at the end of the day, it's for me to set the foundation for my kids to take it over. Because that's my goal. I want them to take it over. I want to give opportunities to not only my kids, but my nephews, my nieces. So I want them to see, hey, listen, this is for you. Yeah, I might be running it now, but at the end of the day, if you pick this up, take it. It's a family business. I've been saying that since day one. Not that I'm going to give you $5 million here, but family business as far as you own this just like I own this when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving you out.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of, there's a purpose and a mission behind it. It's not just any old thing.
Dude, when I started, I didn't even know how to ring up a credit card on the website.
So like I said, and you burned a shirt.
I burned a shirt.
Burn a shirt. Yeah.
I was buying cheap shirts. No idea where to go until I started getting on the phone and making deals with manufacturers just like the big companies. And that's one thing. Another thing I learned was all these big companies, when you spend $90, $100, they get in the same thing I am. They just smacking their label on it and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are things that I'm learning as I go is, when you go spend that $120 on Balenciaga, look at the small guy too. Because if I can make something for you that's fresh, buy it.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm going to grow. That's the only way I'm going to compete with those monsters of a company.
Yeah.
So
how do you like right now, say currently, do you have like any mentors or people that you work with that, it could be minimally, it could be regularly.
My business partner, Aaron, my business partner, / cousin, Glenn, Ed,
the whole fam,
Sam, the whole fam, in case I forget any of y'all, but all those guys are influential to what I've done because they've called me and said, listen, I need you to do this. Like the Chillin on the Stoop, the small patch, that was from my cousin Ed, who called me and said, hey, send me one, but I want a small patch. I did that because I was always big. I was into the big logo because I like loud stuff,
Yeah,
From
Harlem.
Yeah.
Harlem. Yeah. See, I learned quick.
Yeah. I like the loud stuff. So he just told me just take it down a notch, get the small logos out. So,
You could do both.
I could.
Yeah. You could be loud and quiet.
Absolutely.
For the quieter ones out there.
But for the summer, I am coming out with a lot of motivational t-shirts.
I love it.
Yeah. So I got to keep moving forward, which I love. That's for the haters.
Yeah.
So, knowing that we never stop and we're going to continue this. I'm on a mission, man. And that mission is not complete until I see everybody eating off this. So
It's Harlem.
It's Harlem all day, man.
Yeah.
Bleed it. We bleed it.
Yeah. I feel like it also kind of like has like that hip hop culture feel to it. You know, I know we've touched on that a bit, but like to me, it just there's something because like when a lot of people again, you haven't known me that long, right? But
no.
If you were to pass me on the street, I look like this. Would you think I listen to hip hop?
Yeah.
Would you?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Is it the backwards hat?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay. All right.
You just know. I mean, listen.
A lot of people like look at me. Like people bust my ass all the time. People that know me very well, and or sometimes people that, I'll say when they walk in the door and I had Jeezy playing, right? A lot of people are like, I think
that's a Valley thing.
Like I didn't. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. But I do get it a lot. Like, hey, I didn't take you for a hip hop guy. Like I'm like a hardcore rap guy.
No, I think yeah.
I mean, I may not, look like.
That's what
but
you don't need to look like anything.
Right.
You have Beastie Boys. There was hip hop.
Right. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, hip hop doesn't have a look.
Mm-hmm.
People could put a look to it, but there's no look to it. You know what I mean? If you understand what you're listening to and you take the time to understand what you're listening to, then you hip hop.
And it has that, I'll say like the never quit, like the hustle, the grinds, come from nothing, like
you hustle, man.
All of that, like that's that.
What did I tell you in the text, man? You hustle.
Yeah.
You got this platform because you hustled for it.
Yeah.
And you had to go through obstacles where people were gonna tell you, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
This ain't good."
Yeah.
But you kept going.
Yeah.
You kept moving forward, man.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think probably out of 100, I probably got about 99 no's, and 99 like, yo, like, what are you doing? Don't do that.
But look at it this way.
You're buying a building? What do you need that for?
Look at it this way, Bill. I went from burning a shirt to I'm sitting with you right now talking.
Right.
See?
So think about that.
Yeah.
But that's perspective. I mean, like literally, it's perspective. There's so much
appreciation, man.
Yeah.
That's hard work, man. That's determination. And remember, I don't have a marketing team besides the haters.
Right.
But me,
Yeah.
it's me going out there and
grinding.
Me and my business partner saying, hey, you know what? We're gonna grind this out.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, I'm gonna get that interview with Bill. I said, I'm gonna reach out to him.
You did.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even picky about it. Yeah. I wasn't even blowing you up. You know how normal.
Yeah. But one of the other things, I know we started off when we telling you things I like about you. I think I only actually maybe said one, but you being on time, but early.
That's respect.
Early
That's
is on
respect,
time.
though.
But is that never quit attitude and persistence.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of people asking all the time to be on the show every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And do I want to get to everybody? Yeah, I try to, but I can't. I mean, it's not to brag, but it's the point where I can't get to everybody. However, if somebody's persistent, and if I look at them like, you know what, I like him.
Right.
He's whatever. There's
you can see a story. You got a story.
There's a story. I'll say there's something of substance there. And it's like I feel like we connect, and again, but also all that combined with persistence and showing like that you actually care. There's a difference between somebody that wants to come on the show for a free commercial and somebody that wants to come on and have a real conversation like you.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like you're a real dude.
Absolutely.
We've never met in person till today. Right? But like, just like you said earlier, like I feel like I can read people very quick and I can tell who's real and who's not. And you're real.
Thank you. I appreciate
that. I could tell that from very early on.
Right.
So there's some tips if anybody's trying to get on the show.
No, but it's true. It's
true. And no fake shit.
Right,
authentic.
Right,
and
exactly.
you can't force it. That's the other thing. So if you think you're going to come on and try to sell me, coming on and
right.
I can tell when somebody's being not authentic, right? And it's like just be authentic and be yourself, and that's really all that.
And you can never fake something that's family orientated.
Yeah.
If you have a background, if you've been through something, like you said, that adversity, and you still pushing and keep moving forward, you can't fake that. That's unless you're cold-blooded, then go ahead.
Yeah.
But to understand somebody is to sit down and talk to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I never reached down and say, hey, I want to be on your show. No, I say, yo, listen, I got a story to tell. Let's talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And just like you said earlier, it's a lot of people talk, but not a lot of people listen.
Absolutely. And that's why I say it's very key if you're going through anything mentally is who you speak to.
Yeah.
because some people would not understand what you're going through, and they'll knock you. They'll say, I never saw you act that way. You not crazy. I never knew that you were supposed to look a certain way to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to explain that to somebody. Like, listen, I've been dealing with PTSD for a long time. I never said anything. Because the people that look at me, they like, this is the strongest guy I've ever met. I never seen him down. I never seen him cry. I never seen him do. You don't need to do all of that.
Yeah.
I could smile and be hurting. See what I'm saying? But if you take the time to understand and listen, opposed to assuming what you think I am because you see me act a certain way, then you will realize who I am.
Right.
And it boils down to your value. They don't understand your value, so they can't understand your friendship.
Yeah.
So until that day comes and you understand my value, then we could be friends. And trust me, I thought that I had really good friends, man.
Yeah.
Now, besides Jose, that's my guy. That's my brother, actually. That's not my friend. That's my brother. But outside of that circle and my business partner, AR, it's not a lot of people that I could say that I let into my circle that I could say, you know what, man, I really thought that this guy cared about me.
Same.
And then I'm like, no, he really did.
Yeah.
Family members, though, I could beef with them all day. It doesn't. They're going to love me regardless.
Yeah.
So whether it's my wife's family or my family, whatever the case may be, I'm always going to love them because that's family. But anything outside of that, man, I see it. You know, brother passed away, nobody reached out to me. When they passed away, you know what I did? I picked up the phone and reached out. Yo, how you doing? Everything okay? And then when I'm not seeing her respond, I could do the same thing as they are, but instead I just silence. Right?
Yeah.
Because I still care about them.
Yeah.
But it's just silence. I'm not reaching out no more.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, like going back to how you said just about listening and like really understanding like where somebody's coming from and understanding, like you said, like you may, like you personally, like you said, suffering PTSD and having, other, just because you're smiling and just because you're out there doing the work, hustling and grinding every day, doesn't mean that there's, I'll say, not something wrong, right? Like you could still be struggling, but you could still also put a smile on and do the work. Like you don't have to be, sad, frowny face all day, all over, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with, sharing feelings and thoughts here or there, or whatever. But at the same time, like, like you said, just because you're smiling doesn't mean that there's not something.
That there's not something there.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you know, just because you suffer from PTSD doesn't mean that you're suicidal, homicidal.
Yeah.
It just means that you're down. You're going through something that's traumatic to you that you just can't get over, right? Like the death of my brother has brought so much pain inside that I try to at night pray for myself, right? Just to make sure I'm good because I got kids, I got to live for kids and I love life. But that doesn't mean that I still can't struggle with those emotions, right? Because a lot of people, because they don't see those emotions, they assume you don't have those emotions. But I do, because I'm going through something and I'm still fighting for something, because losing my brother was big time for me. It was we grew up on bunk beds, man, a little room, playing basketball off a hanger. We used to take the I don't know if you ever had a Brugal rum, Dominican rum. It comes with a yellow net. We used to take that net and put it on a hanger and play with a sock basketball in the room. So we have so much history, so it's painful. And plus, my brother was like he did so much for my parents that I didn't. And I took that for granted, because he used to be like, yo, you need to help me. And I'm like, no, I'm all the way in PA. What can I do? Not realizing what my purpose was that he wanted me to do. And now that he's gone and I'm picking up the slack, I say, okay, I get it. I get it now. Not saying that, I could have done this before, change. Let me tell you something. One of the things that I've learned through this is people can't accept change. But then when is the right time to change? Right? Right? You say this, you want me to stay the same? At some point, you got to make a decision. You have to change who you are. And that's what I did. And I think a lot of people are not respecting that I changed, that I wasn't what I was. Because you know what I get when you change? oh, now you change. So it's like you lose either way, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and people are like, oh, like he's different. He thinks he's better.
Yeah.
But like, no.
Right.
Like I changed. Like I changed. Like there's like I grew.
exactly.
I grew. Whether you
Right.
went through some shit or not, it doesn't matter. You grew,
Right.
and you know now you're a person. You know, you're still the same person. It's just you leveled up. I'll say, right? Like you're doing something different.
Right. And you're only changing for opinions. That's all it is, right? Because people are gonna stereotype you based on
No matter
your
what.
change, no matter
No matter what.
No matter if I stay the same. Oh, look, he hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Then you change.
It's like, oh man, this guy changed.
Yeah, he changed.
Yeah, what's his
wrong
deal?
with- right.
Yeah, what the hell?
Just like when
Like the old him.
when I post like certain when I posted the 100 orders, I had people saying, "Oh, look at him showing off," and I'm sorry, I'm celebrating something that I worked hard for.
Yeah, you should.
Embrace it instead of knocking it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I
he's a
I used to
show-off.
think that way too. You know, I used to think the same way. Like I used to not share that type of stuff, you know, with the, I'll say like the growth of this.
Right.
For that same reason. It's like, people are going to think, I'm showing off, I'm bragging, this and that. Like, no, I'm number one, proud of it. But
Right.
number two, there's value in sharing that so that other people can learn from what you've done.
Absolutely.
And I find I've recently in the last few months, just from sharing similar type stuff, like you said about, hey, hit 100 orders, whatever it is, me sharing similar stuff like that, I've gotten more DMs from people just literally, seriously, like in the last few months
Right.
or less than I have in the last few years.
And it's funny because I think I mentioned that on Facebook.
You did.
When you posted. I said,
You did. Yeah.
And I said, good. I said, for people not to understand this,
Yeah.
you know, whether you made $1 or you made $1 million, the fact that that dollar is more valuable than the million because you started something that you brought something to life
Yeah.
and you reached that dollar.
Yeah. Like
Because people-
truly.
you know
Like
what it is?
truly, yeah.
People, and you might agree with me on this. People take success based on money. It's not. It's really not. The money just follows the success.
Right.
But the second that you put these microphones and you put your cameras on, you're already winning.
Yeah.
You're winning, man.
I'm doing it.
You're doing
I'm
it.
doing it.
You're hustling.
Yeah, it's like, you know, a lot of times people look at like the end goal, right? Like it's not the end goal that matters. Like you said,
Right.
it's not the money, right? I think I used to be more of a, you know, cared more about the money, I'll say. Like personally, I have.
Oh, we all do. I mean,
Yeah.
we want the
Yeah,
money. That's,
sure, of
that's
course.
why we, yeah.
we all need money, right? You know, it's a tool, right?
Right.
But same thing. Like I used to, you know, not with this, because I had no intention of ever making any money off this. I think that's why it was successful. And everybody always asks me like, oh, like why do you think it's so successful? And I'm like, honestly, because it's genuine, it's authentic. I had no intention of ever making money from it.
Right.
It was just like, hey, I'm just doing this. And just like you said, like the money will follow. If you're doing it for the right reasons, you know, like where I said, like in the past, I'll say like, you know, a little bit younger version of me may have done, you know, things like, you know, maybe I just cared more about the money,
Right.
making the money than the actual mission and process.
Right.
And when you actually care about the mission, the process, and your purpose,
The journey.
yeah, it's the journey that like this is it. Like you said, the microphone, like this is it right here.
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Like it's not the $1 million at the end of the year. I mean, yes, that matters too.
Right.
But like this is it, right?
But not only that, too, Bill. You know what makes it even more authentic? The fact that you did make it to where you at, and you still interviewing people that are not even there.
yeah,
You understand?
Yeah.
So you giving an opportunity to people like myself and others that are coming up, right? Probably the
that's why
opportunity.
I think that's big. One of the big. I hate to cut you off.
Yeah.
But that's one of the biggest reasons. I think I subconsciously did this. Subconsciously built what I built because I never felt like I felt like I was always either overlooked
Right.
my whole life in many aspects.
And who gave you an opportunity to say, hey, let me show you how to do a podcast? Nobody.
Not many people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will say, shout out to Michael Mbita. He helped me a little bit in the beginning, get me started.
Right.
You know, a couple things I didn't know.
But somebody
right?
who had a full blown.
Yeah, but there was no one. Like I
no
you know,
one.
trust no one, right?
There you go,
you know,
see?
like literally. So
Right.
so like for me, like I said, like earlier on with this, I didn't know. I don't think I knew why I was doing it. You know, now I'm going back 4 or 5 years, right?
Right.
You know, now looking at it now, we were talking a little before we started, but I think subconsciously too, I built this because like I built a community of people that I want around me. right?
Right.
And also, like I'm able to, whether it's give somebody a platform, voice, whatever you want to call it, visibility, anything. I think because like I feel like I've been robbed of some of those things. Nothing makes me happier than giving somebody else a voice or a platform
Right.
that they don't have.
And it's not that you was robbed, it's that you wasn't given the opportunity
Right.
to even have somebody to say, hey, I ran a podcast before. Let me show you how to do this. Mm-hmm. Right? You did this, but you partnered up with somebody that helped you along the way. But at the end of the day, you didn't have somebody who had this platform
Right.
to sit you down and teach you.
Right. You just figured it out.
And that's why it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's why it's a success. You know why it's a success? Because you hustling your way to teach yourself through the mistakes, right? Because if you go to day one to where you at now, right?
Crazy.
Right? Crazy, right? It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is. Looking back on it, And like I said, I used to be the guy, like you said, like I would be afraid to, talk about the successes because I feel like I'm a humble person,
Right.
regardless of maybe what some other people think, but I don't care what they think. Like sometimes,
You shouldn't.
Again, some posts I put out there, some people might think, oh, like he's just bragging or he's just showing. Oh, he was handed everything. Nah.
See, they use the word bragging, but they don't know the hard work that you put into it.
Yeah, it's like they only know me for where I was at today.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. That's like one of my favorite things to talk about. Whenever we talk about, I'll say success.
I like that.
Right? It's like you only know me, depending on who you are, you're only looking, even people that have been following from the beginning, right? They might hate on me and they look at it now and it's like, bro, do you remember where I started? Like, think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's people really only look at you for the, like when you say you blow up, you become whatever
when
it
you get
is.
a buzz, when you're getting a buzz.
That's like it's like now people are paying attention and they tend to always forget where you came from and where you started.
And the funny thing is that they look at it like you just started from right here.
Yeah.
from
like,
this
no,
point
like,
forward.
you don't know what I did for the last 5 years.
From this point forward is where they see you.
That's it. It's like, oh, he just started there.
They don't even know if you started 2 microphones with a coffee table, right?
Yeah.
They don't know that.
Oh,
but
it's
that's
crazy.
That's the hustle, man.
I got to show you. I'm gonna bring it up right now to show you because I showed you the previous studio,
Yes.
but that was like the photo that I showed you right before we started. That was oh gosh, that was a year and a half into it or so or more.
Well, dude, no lie. I mean, I had
You're gonna die when you see this.
closest people tell me, nah, don't do this. This is not. You got to go with your gut.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, to be honest, I've said this before on some other episodes here and there, but to be completely honest, I was embarrassed until now. Maybe up until even a little bit recently too, like maybe the last like couple years or so. But I used to be embarrassed of like where I started because like, when you see this picture, you'll know exactly, right?
But that's the jewel of the whole thing.
Okay, ready for this? I don't think you've ever seen this. I hope, unless maybe you like went back a little bit on Facebook. This is where I started. This is my studio.
Okay.
Day one.
See that?
Day one.
So you got 3 rooms in
Zoom
here.
in on that.
That's
You like that?
that's
Yeah.
the grind.
Look at that.
That's the grind.
Right? It's like people look at this and like, oh yeah, he's got all this, right? Do you forget that's where I started?
Dude, I wish I had pictures of the shirt that I burned.
Right, that's what I mean. So like right now, it's like I didn't really take a whole lot of pictures back then, right? Because I was like, this is embarrassing. This sucks. This is embarrassing. Like I was like, literally.
You know what's funny? That I still have shirts that I made, me glittered. I was cutting with the cricket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I started.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, somebody needs to do this for me.
Yeah.
And I got the stitching. I got but the evolution of every day something changes.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned with this is that you progress as you keep going.
Yeah.
Like that's why I say this year for me, there's a lot of things I want to work on, and I'm not afraid to do it.
What are your goals? What are you doing?
Man, my goals is I want to come out with some sunglasses, some Jazrae sunglasses. I'm working on that. I'm trying to see if I could get a good deal where I could, create my own sunglasses. So when you put your fit, you look right with the sunglasses. I got some hats coming out. And I just want to take the brand to a whole new level because I don't just want to stay stagnant on just clothing. Closing is dope, but I want to expand it to other things.
Smart.
You know, and that's where my goal is right now. So wherever it takes me is where I'm going to go. But like I said, it's just a grind, man. I just got to keep at it.
Embrace that. And I know I don't need to tell you this, but like, just embrace that, man, because
I do, man. It changed my perspective, man. Anybody that knows me doesn't know this me, because this me is hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man, I'm so hungry. I want this to go so far to the point where I can hand this over to my kids and say, "It's all yours now." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to give
legacy.
Yeah, I want to give opportunities to my nephews. I want them to know this is for you. I want my nieces to know this is for you.
Yeah.
It may not look like nothing now, but we getting there. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And like I said when I walked in, it reminded me of kind of like what you're saying too. Like every day is different. I said this is like every day it's like a work in progress. I say, hey, excuse the mess here, right?
Yeah.
But literally, I mean, up until today, I just told you we moved the studio around a little bit, moved the cameras lower, moved the table, right? Like literally right before you got here, I was still changing things around. Like
it's a dope studio.
Just always tweaking and tweaking and tweaking.
And I feel privileged because I was the first one to sign the wall. So.
You were the first. Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
I feel privileged, man. And see, it's those things like that I feel good about.
Yeah.
Because it takes me back to day one. And I tell my business partner this, you got to understand that he's more book business than me. I'm like, no, we going for the gusto. Whether we fail, I'll take that L. Don't worry about it. We going to keep going.
Yeah.
But when I signed that wall, the first thing that came to my mind was, damn, look at where I'm at. I started this in my kitchen, man.
Burning shirts.
Yeah, my 8-year-old's laughing at me. You can't do this. First of all, I put the letters backwards too. By the way, I left that part out.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know what? I was self-taught, man.
And it's a great, and it's going to make for a great story for the rest of your life too.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
And like I said, it shows where you started.
Right.
And like, and for anyone out there that's listening, like I said, like I used to be embarrassed to be like, oh no, don't take any, like not here again, but I should, going back to the studio, very day one. That was like, dude, that was day one, like day one. Okay. And I was like, nobody take pictures here. Like this, you know what I mean?
This ain't it, right?
Yeah, no, there's no swag here.
There's no swag.
Did you see any swag in that picture?
No.
Right, exactly.
It was like an 80s room.
Yeah. It's like, listen, like, and that's okay if that's where you start, because look what you can turn it into.
Absolutely. That's the beautiful thing about it. That's the most beautiful thing about it. How many times when you were starting these rooms, how many times you got, don't do it?
Oh, every day.
Every day you get that, right?
Every day.
Stick to it.
Yeah. Oh, I will. No one can tell me otherwise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I say, when you said something about the risk, that resonated with me, because I'm like, that's what I'm about now. I'm taking risk. That's it.
It's too risky not to try.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to try it?
Yeah.
And it's always those that don't try it that put it on you.
And then when they're 75, they're gonna say, "Man, I remember when Bill said that when he was 35."
And you know what's funny, Bill? There's people that know that this show is dope that won't watch it because it's you.
Oh yeah.
There's people that won't buy because they know it's me. It's dope, but they won't buy because it's me.
Yeah.
So you gotta run into those situations.
Yeah.
So get that hunger out. That's when I like to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. People won't buy because it's me.
Yeah.
I got friends who look at my stuff, tell me it's nice, but won't budge on it.
Oh, bro, I am in the same boat.
Well, there's a hat, a T-shirt, whatever. They won't budge on it.
Yeah.
Because they don't support it. They don't support what they say is your friend.
Yeah.
Because me, I'm buying everything. If you come out with something, I'm
buying it. Yeah.
I'm buying it.
Right.
I'm buying it. I'm going to support you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about how it looks or what it may look like on you or whatever the case may be, or how it may sound if you're on the podcast. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to support it. I was on a podcast with two of the guys that I grew up with. They started the podcast on YouTube, and I went on it because it's dope. Because I support it. They trying to do something positive. So why we going to knock it? why not support it? Why not be part of it so they could grow?
Yeah. You know, I always say it's a lot of people won't support it until like it's cool to support it. Once it's cool, once other people say that it's cool, then other people fall and start supporting. But
right.
It's not cool to support it until it's cool to support it.
Right. And the funny thing is that they'll tell their friends, don't buy it.
Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
But you run into situations like that, and those are things in the beginning that used to burn me. But then I started thinking, man, there's a whole audience out there.
There's people that actually do care.
Actually do
complete
care.
strangers.
Complete strangers.
Like us right now.
Right.
Now, we're not strangers now, but we were, up until somewhat recently.
Right.
Right? But complete strangers. And it's just, I feel like I've connected with you more than I probably have with people that I thought were my good friends forever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that a sad thing, though? Not saying it's a bad thing, but it's again, it goes back to people who don't value your friendship, or they don't value who you are as a person.
Right.
Because if I'm giving you advice on something, I'm not giving you advice to chitter-chatter.
Yeah.
I'm giving you advice to help you. Mm-hmm. Now, what you do with that advice is on you. It's not on me.
And one other thing too, and we'll kind of end on this note,
Yeah.
is a lot of people don't even take the time to ask you why are you doing it? Instead of criticizing and saying
Right.
oh, you shouldn't do it that way,
Right.
or I'm just not going to support whatever. Why don't you ask somebody oh, hey, I see you're doing this thing, and just ask.
Right.
Hey,
what is it about?
what's it about? Yeah. What's it about? Why are you doing it?
Right.
Instead of saying nothing or knocking it, because again, for me, and I've said this, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse or a broken record here,
Right.
but for the longest time and still to this day, and I know it's going to still go on forever, no matter how successful this still becomes.
Right.
People still make fun of it, and I don't really. I mean, I get it, but I won't even go. We won't go.
Right.
I won't even go there. But the point is why don't you just take the time to understand maybe why somebody's doing it? And I think once you take a moment to listen, like you said before, listen to somebody's story about why they're doing it.
Right.
Once you hear that, more times than not, it's undeniable why you shouldn't support that person at that point.
1,000%.
That's it.
Absolutely.
End of story.
End of story. There is no
what I mean?
ifs, ands, or buts. You have to support it at that point.
Yeah. But like I said, most people won't even ask the question, why are you doing it?
No.
All they'll do is just give you their shitty opinion of why it sucks and make fun of you. That's
and why
it.
I won't buy it because I don't
why it
wear
won't-
that kind of stuff.
or why it won't work. Or
Right. Right.
Yeah, but nobody wants to actually take the time to understand
Opposed to saying, hey, can you make me something that I would wear?
yeah.
Because I can do that. Mm-hmm. Right. But you're not taking the time to understand that I could do that.
Yeah. They're just looking from up here they're in the cheap seats.
That's it.
You
That's
know?
what it
they're
is,
in the
man.
cheap seats
That's what it
just
is.
not contributing any value.
None.
That's it.
That word value, man, it runs big. That's
Yeah.
what I learned after my brother's death is the value of a human. When you have an angel in front of you and you don't value that angel sometimes, and then it's gone, is when people start to value it.
Yeah.
When he was living right there. He was an angel, man. There was a lot of people in his viewing. Not to bring it back up, but it was a lot of people in that viewing. And everybody said the same thing. How such of a sweetheart he was. He was a big guy, but he was very emotional. Me, I was more... Now, I'm not saying that I'm cold, but I was more like I'm a stronger individual to where people think that I just don't care. Well, that's not the truth. I care, man. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't like to show those emotions because I don't want people to see that weakness. Unless I'm talking to you privately and you're listening, not hearing me, then I would, release those emotions.
Yeah. And actually, I know I said we're going to end on one other thing, but I want to say one more thing actually too. So kind of how you just said, I may not want people to see the emotions or whatever, but also I think more times than not, and I've learned to embrace this more now than I'll say have any up until recently.
Right.
But it's hey, when somebody's willing to be vulnerable, aka show an emotion or anything, you did a lot of that today. You put yourself in a vulnerable position tonight.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot to be said about that, and I respect that, a lot.
Right.
Because it's like you're willing to put yourself out there. Like you're willing to show and talk about the things and ask the hard questions and have the hard conversations. And there's great strength in that.
Right, and I spoke about things that I've never spoken about with anybody.
Right, like you just did that, you know.
Right.
And I'm I want to say like I'm proud of you, right? Like seriously, like it's
No, and that's a good thing.
And like a lot of times, guys don't talk like this. Like
No.
it's like guys don't. I feel like sometimes show like an emotional side or hey, I'm proud of you kind of thing. It's like, yo, man, like I see you out there grinding every day.
Dude,
like,
I'm proud of myself, to be honest with you, man. You know how many times I reach out to friends and say, hey, how you doing? Oh, how's this person doing? You know, knowing that I don't get any of that in return, but I still go out my way and say, how's this guy doing?
Yeah.
How's he feeling? Let me hit him up because I heard he's going through something. Let me call him.
Yeah.
And I don't get it in return. And I don't want to do the same thing as they did. But at some point, you have to let go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my point.
There it is. All right. So how can people support you? Where can they buy? What do they need to do?
You go to Jazrae.com, JAZRAEWEAR.com. We got hoodies, t-shirts. We coming out with, we got hats, but we are coming out with some new stuff, some summer tees, and go on the website. It's 100% legit. We will send you your stuff ASAP. So.
And I vouch for it, by the way.
Yes, and it's
dope. Like
I said, man, and it's local, right? Because I'm here now, and and if it's something that you need custom, we can try to make it. Not 100% because I got called a lot of times to make this and that and can't do it. But if it is something that you need, just hit us up. Email is Jazrae Wear @outlook.com. So, and we on Google, so you could go to Jazrae Wear LLC, and if you purchase, leave your reviews, man, because that's what helps us. So,
boom, love it.
Got it.
I'm grateful that we connected.
I'm glad I'm here, man.
Besides having some dope swag.
Always.
Yeah.
Don't cut yourself short no more, though.
I know.
If you got swag, you got swag.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I embrace the swag now. I'll say like I don't give a shit anymore. Like,
You got the Lowe's pass. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
There you go.
I got the Lowe's. That's it. So yeah, I'm like I said, this is the first show. We lowered the table. I call it the low rider. Now this is like the low rider table. We used to be like way up here. Got the wall out there. You're the first to sign it. A lot of firsts going on.
I like that.
Yeah. So sorry, I don't want to say you're a guinea pig, but like we got a lot of new things going on here.
That's okay.
Like I said, like every day really, but every week I'm like in here changes and improves, and that's.
Now you did say you was painting again, so hopefully my.
I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to say.
You better call me back because I'm coming.
I wanted you to sign it. I there was no way I couldn't let you not sign it, right? Because it's there. Yes, it's usable. Yeah, I don't even know if it really needs another coat, but I want to put another coat anyway, just in case. Maybe it'll make it last longer. I'm not sure. But either way.
Use one of those gold markers.
Yeah.
They work pretty good.
Yeah. There's
especially
like a silver
on a wall
too,
like
right?
that.
Like a gold and a silver, like a metallic.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's
this is a Sharpie, so I won't use, but this is a silver metallic. I'm a big like metallic guy.
That'll look good on that.
Not
black.
Metallica, but metallic.
It'll look good on that black.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. You got swag, man.
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
All right, Los. On the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/onthestackspodcast or search the hashtag OnTheStacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.